Bust out the coloring books and emergency therapy llamas. Democrats are having night terrors that a third-party bid will spoil Biden's re-election plans. Joe Manchin giving his biggest tease yet that he might join a unity ticket.
We're here to make sure that the American people have an option. And the option is, can you move the political parties off their respective sides? They've gone too far right and too far left. If they have another option, then they're in trouble. Both parties are in trouble. I've never been in any race I've ever spoiled. I've been in races to win. And if I get in a race, I'm going to win.
Oh, that's exciting. And if you listen closely, you can hear the sounds of millions of Democrats screaming.
It's maddening. It would most likely hurt President Joe Biden in his re-election campaign. But let's say for some reason we see a moderate Republican win the GOP nomination, then it could potentially hurt them.
That will be his legacy for the rest of his life. Joe Manchin helped elect a fascist.
They call themselves no labels, honestly, because like oligarchs gentlemen's club was like, you know, too much on the nose of a name for them.
But the only thing that Dr. West's candidacy can do is help elect Donald Trump. Seems to be a very charming man. And he's also a minister to the threat of the continued constitutional order in the United States.
So, Harold, it's a threat to democracy, our constitutional order, by having another candidate run for president. People just hate third-party candidates because the one closest to their preferred candidate gets hurt. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, everybody feels the same way. So when we see a left-winger, we go, ha, 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 he's going to hurt Biden. But you know that if Trump doesn't get the nomination and he becomes a third-party candidate, Republicans are going to lose.
I think you said it well. I'm 53. In my lifetime, the most serious independent candidate was Ross Perot in 92 and 96. His candidacy, by all analysis, helped then Governor Clinton, and then President Clinton get reelected. RFK, no labels, Professor West have something in common. They're all thinking about running because they don't like the potential, or should say what is perceived to be the likeliest lineup on the Republican-Democrat side of Biden-Trump rematch. Now, listening to No Labels and listening to my old friend Joe Manchin, he has said that if he gets in this race, he's going to win. The American people don't want a third-party candidacy for the sakes of vanity, for the sakes of expressing a strong opinion. If you can't win, I think that the American people will reject it. And frankly, I think the way you analyze this, Greg, that if it's President Trump who runs as independent, if it's No Labels or Professor West, as I listened to Professor Carville there, or James Carville there at the end there, it's easy to decide to determine who will win the election if any of these things happen. So I think everybody should talk about running, but if you're serious about winning, you got to think long and hard about whether you should run.
This is why I have the solution, Jesse.
What's the solution?
The solution is, I don't really have one. No, here it is. You have two third parties.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if there's a third party that can hurt your side,
yep,
there's another third party that can hurt your side.
I'll see your third party and I'll raise
your third party.
Four parties.
So it'd be four parties, but there's really two major parties and two third parties.
It's a lot of parties and no one's having any fun.
And if that has a problem, then you have two more. But you can never have an odd number.
Yeah, then we're like the Europeans.
Yes.
It's like thousands of parties.
You could win with like 10%.
That's the kind of democracy I like. Winning with the minority. I was kidding. Donald Trump's due for some luck, though. He was cruising last time and COVID hit, so he could use a spoiler. It also would help so he could pardon himself with the old pocket pardon if he's indicted and convicted. He might have cut a deal with Manchin. He might have said, Joe, you run third party. You spoil it for the incumbent Joe. I get back in the White House, and then I tap you for cabinet, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Interior. That way, then you can kind of ride out into the sunset. You're a hero in West Virginia, and you're also really rich. But it does feel like both parties are... I guess the Democrat...
That's called a bribe.
Yeah. No, that's called politics. Sure. Oh, God. That's called a deal. But it does seem like the Democrats are running too hot and the Republicans are running too cold. The Democrat wing, where it's like you got prosecutors, the media, and the intel guys, they're just bloodthirsty, obsessed, trying to kill Trump. That's all they care about. And the rest of their party's like, can we talk about health care, education, and wages over here? Yeah. And then there's the Republicans that have totally lost any emotion. The whole country's engulfed in flames, and they're trying to maintain this air of respectability. You got boys in the little girls' room. You got, the former president about to get arrested. You got the open border. You got a high crime wave, and they're sitting there, and they say nothing. So there's an eruption going on both sides because the people at the top don't listen to the people at the bottom.
Judge, what do you think of the no labels? They've been around for like maybe 15 years, and I never really hear of them.
You never hear from them. And what they said was, if it's Trump and Biden, we may not support a third-party candidate anyway. So I'm like, why are we even talking about these people? But the craziest part of it is historically third-party candidates have always underperformed. So initially they'll come out and people will say, oh, it's great, they're independent. But when it gets to election, they don't do as well as they did before the election. But what I think is incredible, you had that person from MSNBC, right? We want to keep the two-party system in the United States because institutionally, as a country, we need it. All of a sudden, the left believes in institutions. They want to tear down the statues. They want to make sure that the Supreme Court goes so they can. All the institutions are bad unless it preserves, Joe Biden. And the fear is that they don't care about anything other than destroying Trump. And that Manchin, if he's in there, he'll take votes away from Biden. That's the only thing that they're worried about. And in the end, Carville is even going nuts, saying that this guy, Cornel Wild, is a threat to the Constitution. Cornel West, I'm sorry, is a threat to the Constitution. He's not a threat to the Constitution. Everybody's a threat to democracy if you don't go their ideological way. And they don't want him to run. And the truth is, they just want to bully a third-party candidate. Let's assume that there is one. Let democracy take its course. Let it run its course. Stop trying to bully people to support your side.
I really wish it was Cornel Wild.
Yeah, that was
He's a classic actor from the old school of acting. Was he in The Most Dangerous Game? He's quite a man's man, Kaylee. This is before your time.
Yeah, Cornel Wild, he could win the Gen Z vote.
Yeah, there you go.
Like that.
Do you notice what they're doing to RFK is exactly kind of what they did to Trump, which is they parse every one of his words. It's like they don't like anything he says somehow undermines all of the deeds he's done.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, suddenly he's anti-Semitic, but he has never had an anti-Semitic deed in his life. But this is what they did to Trump.
Oh, it's the same playbook. Anti-Semitism, racism, misogyny, et cetera. They do it to Trump. They do it to RFK, anyone they don't like. But there are three Joes in this race. There was the Joe in the Oval, who today for about 10 seconds looked like he fell asleep. Like his head was down and he was mumbling with the Israeli president. Really peculiar. Then there's the Joe that matters, which is the Joe Manchin, because Joe Manchin would doom a Joe Biden candidacy, would absolutely doom him. You look at the late-breaking numbers of third-party voters, 2-1, they went for Joe Biden as compared to Hillary Clinton. So my point is third-party candidate could really mess up. And then you got the third Joe Exotic, who's running from federal penitentiary.
That's right.
Who has a better chance of winning than Joe Manchin, who says, if I run, I'm going to win.
I hate the if I run crap. Aren't you tired of the flirting and the teasing?
Yeah.
I'm
titillated by it.
Oh, you are? You are? Well, it is content.
Yeah.
It is.
It's summer. We have to come up with stories.
That's right.
All right, ahead, they tried locks and plexiglass. Now liberal cities are resorting to chaining up your ice cream.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.